And welcome back to another episode of Spoiler Kings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Zach Attack Review. Guys, you know what we're doing in February? Black Excellence. So we're definitely talking about another great movie. Before I do that, I want to talk about Zach Attack's Review. His channel is great. You guys gotta subscribe. Zach, tell him about it.
Yeah, so Zach Attack Reviews. I am the unofficial fourth member of Spoiler Kings, but I also have a own channel, and I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, television show reviews, and something I call Throwback Thursdays, where I review old movies that my channel members and subscribers vote on, and I've never seen them before.
Yeah.
I'm a new cinephile. Yeah, I know a lot. Yeah, I noticed I'm about to change my whole channel just to old movies, but yeah, so I'm a new cinephile. When growing up, I didn't get to see a lot of movies, so this is a great time for me to catch on these great films. I did Juice recently, and I'm so glad I voted on it because it was such a great film. Check out my full thoughts on that as well. But yeah, I'm excited to be here to talk about this film with Brian.
All right, guys, you wonder what we're talking about this week? It's Coming to America. Come on, it's a cult classic. You know, this is one of the best movies of all time. I mean, 1988, Eddie Murphy was the man. He was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what can you say about this movie except that it really kind of brought the culture together? I mean, everyone loved it. It pushed everything together. You think about how many people know about McDowell's? How many people know about Queens, New York? Yeah. No one even talked about Queens, New York. I mean, but seeing it from someone who's from Zamunda, someone from an African country coming to America, understanding why they're seeing the things this way, how they see African American people that are different than Africans. It was such a great movie. I loved it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, and I think that it being written by an African American and showing how we see Africans, the royalty, and how they would be without coming to America, how they would be different from us, and how they'd be kind of snooty and stuff like that, and then how they would see us. I think it was a great way to do it without offending anybody. Like Africans wouldn't be mad because we're making fun of ourselves, and African Americans won't be mad because we're kind of making fun of the Africans as well. And it just created this bridge, because there is a divide between Africans and African Americans in real life. So I think it creates a really good bridge for us to come together and just laugh at each other and enjoy a film.
I mean, that's what Eddie Murphy does. He brings fun, brings excitement and joy in the way of comedy. He does it. He did it all throughout the 80s, the 90s. I mean, this guy is amazing, and this is why I have to talk about this movie. I'm going to read a quick synopsis in case you haven't seen it, which I don't know what you've been doing if you haven't seen Coming to America, but whatever, we're going to read it anyway. King Jafar, the prince and heir of the throne of fictitious African country Zamunda, is discontented with his pampered lifestyle. The final straw is when his parents come, King Jaffe and Queen Alione present them with a bride-to-be, which is played by Vanessa Bell. He has never met before, trained and mindlessly obey his every command. Akeem comes with a plan to go into America to find his true life, someone who accepts him for his personality rather than his status, and becomes who could be a free thinker and be his actual partner. He decides to choose Queens, New York, to find this partner. During the quest, he goes through lots of things. He goes to nightclubs, he goes to places, and he finds someone he falls in love with, Lisa McDowell. The rest of the movie is basically about their story, how they fall in love, and when she finds out he's a king or prince, how her reaction is, and how the family deals with those things. So that's kind of the quickest rundown I could find for the movie. I mean, this is a great movie, so I don't know if I want you to say what you rate it, but what are your thoughts on Coming to America?
Coming to America is a classic. I wouldn't even put cult classic. I think it's just a straight up classic. I think it made money, so it's not like it was a financial failure. It punctured pop culture where people of other races know about this film, and I think Eddie Murphy got to showcase everything, all his talents in this film, just acting as different characters in the film, in the barbershop, the sexual chocolate dude.
Isn't that like the first time you saw stuff like that? When actors playing all these different characters, being funny in all these different ways. It was awesome.
Yeah, and also doing things that you just can't. This movie's a time capsule because it's doing things that you can't do now, like someone playing a white person in the
A white
barbershop. You
Jewish
can't
guy
do
in a
that now.
barbershop.
Oh God, you wouldn't be able to do that in a comedy now. Um, and I think that was really, really funny. Like when I went back to go before we did this review, just to watch a couple scenes that I just to clear up my mind, and I just watched those barbershop scenes, and I'm like, it's an exaggeration, but that is really how New York barbershops are. Like I'm sitting there trying to get my shape up, and they're talking about whatever for so long, and I'm like, man, can you just get this done real
F
quick?
you, F you, F you. Who's next? That's
Yeah, like barbers get away with murder, man. They just do whatever they want, and I think that he expressed that so well. I think the way he showcased Queens, which is funny because Queens is a double-edged sword for New Yorkers, where like we celebrate it because that's where the birth of hip hop is, you know.
hmm
Well, at least in America, obviously hip hop was born in the Caribbeans, came to America, and then really cultivated in Queens. But then also like the other boroughs don't like Queens because they got dumbass street names where you get lost and snooty people and then the craziest bums. And I think that they showcased that in this movie all the way back in the late 80s. So
I
all
mean,
that
when
stuff
they
still
drop
happens
off their
today.
they drop off all their luggage, they turn around and all their luggage is gone.
Bruh. I saw it coming from as soon as I saw all the luggage there. I was like, he don't got nobody to pick up his luggage. He don't understand that you got to do all this stuff yourself. That's gone. It's gone. They were peeping. They were eyeing him from as soon as he got out of the car. They saw that coat. Oh, we robbing him.
They just looked at each other like, let's go.
Yep. Doing nothing but chicken wing. They ain't even gonna say nothing.
Dude, this movie has so many great actors and actresses. I mean, Garcelle Bouvier is sitting there just as an extra. You know, you have James
Yeah.
Earl Jones, which is to me is like one of the
Mhm.
greatest black actors of all time.
All time.
You have Calvin Lockhart, you have Arsenio Hall, you have Mackie Sinclair, you have just Paul Bates. Cuba Gooding Jr. is a guy is getting his haircut in the barbershop. Samuel
Yeah.
Jackson is there robbing the McDowells. This
One
is
of my favorite scenes. Oh my god, it was so funny.
it's so
But
many
yeah, even
guys.
John
People,
Amos, underrated
John
black
Amos.
actor.
Oh my god.
Louis Anderson just being like the person in McDowell taking out the money. Like he's a great comedic actor.
Jake Steinfeld is in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's so many great
Loaded.
actors. It's
Loaded.
unbelievable. Vanessa Bell Calloway.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, everyone kind of went on to be great in their own right. But all this was in this movie, and Eddie Murphy brought all these people together, and I love this. I love it about this.
It
And
shows the respect that he had and his networking skills because they're not going to just do this because it's because they respect Eddie Murphy. They're like, yo, you want me for something? Of course I'm going to be one of your movies. Like they knew what it was.
All right. So here's a question for me to you. Favorite scene in Coming to America?
It's funny. It's one of the early on ones when he's kind of like just coming out of the water and he has all the women around him and just that pamper. It was just so outrageous and ridiculous, but it just set the tone for the film so well.
Yeah.
Just him coming on the stoop and saying hello neighbors and they tell him to shut the F up. Like
I thought
it was
you
just
were
the
gonna
juxtaposition of that.
When she comes out of the water, she says, "The royal penis is clean, sire."
Amazing. I was absolutely dying. I was just like, yo, Dave, you really can't do shit like this now. It's such a great film that goes for the joke every time and is unabashed in it. There's so many scenes, and then when they go to the club, that is funny. When he's asking like, where can we find women around here, and he's telling me to go to a women's rally. I was dying.
But isn't there there's so many parts of this movie that you're just looking at it and it's so funny, but it doesn't lose the point. I think that's the beauty and the magic in this movie. You don't lose the point of the movie. You're still able to enjoy it and understand the journey and love the characters. You know, but I
Yeah.
gotta say my favorite is still when they sing she's your queen to be. If I had some tea, I
Yeah.
would do it right now. I'd be like, she's your queen to be. No, come on, man.
Okay.
That's so good,
Record
man.
deal on the way.
If you ever sing again, we stopping you. Don't do it again.
YouTube about the YouTube playing this video. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Oh man. Is there anything else that we're missing from this movie? Because I mean, just not to mention the other movies that are in there. I mean, Trading Places, Randolph.
Yeah.
You know, like so many things. It connected to so many things. Eddie Murphy's a genius, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, this is him unleashed and not have any shackles. They're like, hey, here's a couple $1 million. You're Eddie Murphy, just make a funny movie, and he just made a classic and brought along a lot of people in their young careers, and gave him some shine. That's another thing that's really great about this is like there's like a Cuban Gooding Jr. being there just to get his his haircut, and I saw him, I was like, wow, like this is a small little thing he did, and he turned into this big actor.
Great actor.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What about the dancing scenes? The African dancing scenes, seeing that culturally for me, I think that was the first time I saw it on film.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. Sure, I have, praise dancing in church and stuff like that, but nothing like that. Like you see it.
It's different.
It was different.
It's different.
And it affected me in a different way.
I think when I was watching when I was younger, it didn't affect me as much, but when I watched it again as an older person, I'm like, wow, like this is something that you don't see in American films. Maybe if you saw like an African film, but you don't really have access to that, really. So, like, unless you want to spend like a whole bunch of money. So, I think that it was important that he's making fun of New York African Americans and Africans, but he's also celebrating parts of us at the same time and connecting both of them as well. Like, I think that's the best part. I think that's why it affects you so much because the laughs are here and there, but it's also just authentic in celebration.
Exactly. Like the end, the wedding scene, when finally, Lisa's coming up there, you see, the king and queen, and then you see her father coming in too. And basically that connection, they connected this family together and connected these two different people, these Africans and African Americans, connected them together under one family. And I thought that was kind of the best way to end the movie. And in fact, it ended right there with them, walking, going off and just, enjoying their life was perfect.
Perfect. Why this movie works so well? Because there's a lot of movies, and not a lot of black ones, but like a lot of other kind of movies where princes or princesses want to live a simpler life.
Mm-hmm.
And that story just resonates with you because it's just like, why would you want to give up all that stuff? But they show why, the lack of control you have and things like that. And we've got so many movies like that. And I think this is one of the best ones because it's a little deeper.
I agree. I mean, because you see scenes, you see him having to wake up and not have stuff and realize that's how people in America live all the time. I know there's people in Africa that live this way, but he's a prince. So he's seeing it from a totally different vision. Like, this is unbelievable, his viewpoint, and to be able to share that viewpoint with everybody is just so well done. The budget for this movie was $36 million. How much did it make in box office?
I'm gonna go low. 40?
288.8 the first time it was released, and it's up to $350 million now.
I don't know why I went that low. It's Eddie Murphy in the 80s. Like
Eddie Murphy in the 80s, exactly.
Even in 2022, that's good. That's fantastic in 2022.
For an independent type of movie like that? Produced by Eddie Murphy Productions.
Yeah. He knocked it out of the park.
Having black producers, black directors, rated by a black person. It's unbelievable. All black actors except for Louis Anderson, because but he's official. He's funny, so he's good.
And also at a time where you are told all the time black people can't sell movies. Like that's been a thing. That's still a thing. Like that's the
Exactly.
thing right now. It's less of a thing, but it's still a thing. But back then it was worse.
Yep.
So for him to come in to get $36 million, which people probably thought it was a risk, because if it's $36 million, the budget for the marketing is 36. So for it to make money, it has to crack what 70 mil, and he did
80 million.
over
Over
200
almost
million.
300 the first time. Like he's over $300 million on this movie. That's amazing.
And then you got to think about DVD and Blu-ray sales and VHS and all that. Then it being
Man,
on like rental, and
I
it made mad
bought
money.
a Blu-ray like 3 weeks ago of this movie just because I was like, man, my DVD might not work. I'm gonna get a Blu-ray of the same exact movie. Like
Yeah,
just
and
in
it might
case
be even
streaming
crisper.
stops. You never know. Streaming might stop at one time. I need to be able to
The
pull
way
this
things
movie
are
out.
going right now, whew,
You never
yeah.
know. So I need to have my backup. I have that one. I have my Last Dragon, just in case.
You know how I'm big on physical media, so yeah, you're right.
All right. So IMDb, what do you think this rating is?
IMDb is such a let me not trash them on the internet, but it's not great. 7.9.
7.1.
Okay. Oh, I went too high this time. Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. So user
Yeah, that's good.
most people that viewers were 7.4.
Mhm.
Critics were 6.7. So
Not
7.1.
surprised.
Yeah. They didn't know what they had. And what they had was a great movie with great black actors, great directors, great scenery, being in New York, seeing Africa in a different way, how beautiful the colors were in Africa. Even the animals and just kind of explaining how things are. It was so great. I just enjoyed the journey they took us on. Eddie Murphy, it's a chef. You get a chef's kiss. It was a beautiful movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. That's why I wanted to do it today. You got anything else for Zach?
My last thing I gotta say is the best part of the movie is if you take away all the African American and African connection, all the culture, all that stuff. If you just look at the movie on a basis, it's just a great comedy film.
Exactly.
And I think that's where you start with these kind of things. Whether it's a black movie, Asian movie, something about the LGBT community, just make a great film, and then you add that other stuff on, and then you create a classic. So I think that's what Eddie Murphy did. He had a great basis, and then he just added the rest of the stuff to resonate with us.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. That's all I got.
Yeah, thank you.
So once again, guys, this is our Black Excellence film series that we're doing. We're gonna do. I have 5 to 6 more movies in mind. We're gonna continue to do this as much as possible because the point of this is not to just only do this during February because it's Black History Month, but it's to understand that there's Black excellence all the time. There's Black actors and actresses that are great all the time, and we want to celebrate them and realize how blessed we are to have these things and to know that this is an everyday event. This is not something we need to just go ahead and say this is only during February we can recognize it. Every day, these same actors and actresses are around. The same directors are around. The same writers are around. So let's celebrate it all the time.
Yeah,
that's my last thing. If you're watching this video and you like it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Spoiler Kings, Zach Attack Reviews. Let's do this. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers for both of us. Gotta get monetized, guys.
Yeah.
But thank you for watching the video. We're gonna have another one coming out in a couple of days. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.